you think of prison, what is it that you think of? Most people will say it's a place that they would never want to enter on their own terms. I mean, after all, who could blame them? Being trapped with an abundance of gang members, murderers, rapists, and thieves for an extended period of time that could last a single day or one's entire life. Everyone's heard about the showers, the beatings by the guards, murders, all the usual prison cliches. So here's another question. Would you let a child enter a prison? Most likely, if you're like me, the answer to that question is a no. Interestingly enough, though, both the Canadian and American government disagree with you and me on this point. Yes, of course a child could enter prison. I mean, after all, what if a family member is in there? But that is not what I'm talking about. In Canada, felonies that are punishable for a term of over 2 years for minors over the age of 14 can find themselves behind bars of even a maximum security prison. Case in point, Stephen Truscott. But if you think Canada's law is unjust, just wait until you hear this. In the United States, thousands of children have been sentenced to life without even the possibility of parole. In 2005, there was 2,225 child offenders serving life sentences without the possibility of parole before they even hit the age of 18. Now, keep this in mind. The United States doesn't have an overall ruling on sentencing minors to prison. However, 22 states allow minors to be sentenced into the adult prison system, some as early as 7 years of age. I mean, really, how disgusting is that? You have Charles Manson in one cell, and then potentially your nephew in the second grade could be in the cell right beside him. And I guarantee you that child comes out more screwed up than when he entered his rehabilitation. Furthermore, 16% of the 2,255 child offenders were between the ages of 13 and 15 when they committed the crime. So, let's take this back a step for a second. What is the North American legal system exactly trying to achieve? Because sentencing a child to prison seems more like a punishment than rehabilitation. Yet, rehabilitation is supposed to be the point of prison. Right? There is not a single circumstance you can give me where you can prove to me that someone under the age of consent, someone under the age of being able to even own a credit card, should even be able to come face to face with a mass murderer, never mind share a jail cell with them. I mean, there is multiple government studies out there that prove sentencing a minor to prison makes them more susceptible to commit not only more crimes, but become career criminals. Well, why is this? Let's start off with some common knowledge. A brain at the age of 21 is certainly not fully developed. In fact, the majority of society doesn't have a fully developed brain until much after the age of 18. So why is it that we treat kids like they have the same amount of knowledge of right and wrong as someone whose brain is fully developed? Doesn't this ruin the whole point of juvenile detention centers, to separate the child and adult convicts, not put them in the same room together? Here's another point. Where does a 14-year-old rank on the prison food chain? It's sickening to think that we can sentence children to the same place where we sentence pedophiles. I mean, doesn't this go against the ideals of justice, or even simply right and wrong? It has been proven that minors in prison are much more susceptible to physical and sexual abuse than adult inmates. If you think about that for a second, you might realize that a child's sentence could be 1 billion times more devastating than an adult sentence. Let's play pretend for a second and say that prisons are harm-free. Does anyone honestly believe that a single action that someone made early in their life should dictate what they do with the rest of it? I mean, especially when they haven't even reached the age where they can graduate from high school. Bringing it back to Stephen Truscott, what if the child is wrongly convicted? I mean, it's not like that's never happened before. Sure, let's just give the government another reason to waste millions of dollars. Think about this. As a 17-year-old, you cannot buy a lotto ticket, go bungee jumping, skydiving, drink, smoke tobacco, or even watch pornography legally. However, if you steal a chocolate bar from a convenience store, you can wind up somebody's bitch in prison, and both the Canadian and American justice system is okay with that. Now, does anybody else see what's wrong with this picture?